Hey, this is Jake.
This is Carrie.
And this is Love You Like Crazy, the show where we talk about young adult media.
I note that you said media this time. I thought we usually talk about books, dude.
Yeah, we do. But life has gotten interesting recently. I don't know if anyone out there has noticed. Life has gotten interesting. Things are different. So we do want to talk about books eventually, but we're going to take a little break from that. And we'll talk about TV instead for a bit, which takes less time.
It's easier. Takes my mind off the fact that my brain is constantly screaming.
Yep.
Oh, it's bad.
So speaking of screaming, what TV show are we starting off with here?
Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yes, it's on Netflix. It's by a bunch of the same people who made Riverdale.
I mean, so if they're responsible for that shit show, this is going to be baller, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. And speaking of Riverdale, I should mention that a while ago, we recorded a bunch of episodes for the Patreon about the first season of Riverdale. And I was thinking that we might just start rolling those out as well, just in case people haven't heard them and want to check them out. I feel like as that went on, we sort of got better at it. And I really like how that series turned out.
I really enjoyed it too. I thought it was a lot of fun to do. I thought we got really silly with it sometimes, but we're two people who like YA, and so it was fun.
And it's also a little bit of a time capsule. Like there's an episode where I talked a bunch about Anthony Scaramucci's role in the Donald Trump White House.
And at this point we're like, who?
Yeah, that dates that particular episode to about 4 days of time.
I know. Oh my God.
Well, let's get on with the discussion.
Let us do that.
Let's.
No, really, let's.
Okay. So, what are we watching?
We're watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 1, Episode 1, October Country.
Yeah. But wait, is October Country a reference to something that I don't know about, other than it being October and in the country?
I don't know. I'm going to look that up right now.
Oh, it's a Ray Bradbury book.
Oh.
Well, anyway. Digression.
Well, yeah, this whole thing is basically a digression. So this show, many people are familiar with Sabrina from either the show from the 90s or from the comic books. We've got a half witch, half mortal. She's got a boyfriend named Harvey. She's got 2 aunts. The end.
Yeah. Hilda and Zelda.
Yeah. I don't know where to start now. Actually, I know where I'm going to start.
Okay.
So we start in the movie theater, and it's Night of the Living Dead, and, Sabrina's having a grand old time. She's eating popcorn. Her boyfriend's all scared. It's like, this is a delightful, turn of events. Then they're leaving, and they see their teacher, Ms. Wardwell, and she's like, hey, you should come totally watch movies with us. And that was weird. And her friends thought that was weird.
Wait, can I point something out?
Yes.
So they get together to watch movies once a week or something?
Yeah.
And it's Monday or Tuesday?
Uh-huh.
And on Friday, she's leaving town?
Yep.
So she's totally saddling her friends with the teacher if the teacher had agreed with it.
Oh, you're right. Oh, she is a dark witch.
Oh, man. She's trouble, that one.
She is trouble. But Miss Wardwell's driving home. She's listening to her music. And there's a girl standing in the middle of the road, and she swerves and she saves the girl and brings the girl home. And my favorite fucking part of this was, because I wrote the quote down, and there are a lot of question marks all around it. She tells the girl who's now sitting in the back seat, who's filthy. She looks like shit.
My cottage is just down the road. Get you all cleaned up and call Dr. Saperstein in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck isn't she calling 911 immediately? Because there's a fucking damaged person standing in the fucking road. But she takes her home and gives her tea? Like, no, you take the girl to the hospital. She's been traumatized.
It's true.
I don't care what the fucking person says. She's obviously a minor. You take her to the fucking hospital. In the sleepy town of Greendale, the doctor's home.
True.
It's fine. Fucking call him or her. I don't care. Just call them. But no, she got to take her home and get fucking scissors to the neck. You don't take responsibility for this shit, Wardwell. You deserve that which happens to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember, so we actually watched this episode for the first time when I was visiting you last month.
So many years ago.
Yeah, on February 15th.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, watching it for the first time, I feel like both of them are acting like kind of weird and a little creepy. And you're like, wait, so who is... Obviously, one of these people is going to die.
Oh, yeah.
Like, which one of them is the evil one and which one is the victim?
I mean, I totally originally thought it was going to be Wardwell. I was like, oh, that girl's dead.
Right. Because she, like, takes her home. Her house is, like, a little creepy and she's acting kind of weird. And then she, like, talks about the town's history of, like, hanging witches back in 1692 when 13 witches were hung, and the girl is like, well, how do you know so much about witches? She's like,
Well, I am Greendale's unofficial town historian, I suppose.
And you're like, she's a witch. She's one of the 13, but she's not.
And you know she's not for one very specific reason. When they're having their tea, there's a cross above her mantle that is right side up.
Oh, good spotting.
I know.
I missed that.
And I am assuming later in the season that will not be the case.
I would think not.
I would imagine it will be upside down later. But right now it is currently right side up. And so when I noticed that today, I was like, good detail, motherfuckers. I like that. That was sexy.
Nice one.
So yeah, so she takes the chick home and she's like, I'm going to just take care of you. And then I'll call some doctor in the morning. She gets scissors to the neck and dies. But not before the girl takes her blood and turns into a dark version of her. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was like one of the things about this show that I was like, damn, I'm into it. I don't like the thing is, okay, y'all, I don't like being scared in TV shows or movies or anything like that. I can read scary books. Like, I'm fine with a book. Because in a book, like, when you read it, even when it's scary, even when it's fucked up and weird, like, your brain can somehow mute the gore a bit. You don't see it. You can imagine it, but you can imagine it a little less spurty.
Sure. Yes. I accept that.
Is that the right word? Spurty?
It's very evocative. I think it's exactly the right word.
But when you're watching a movie, it's all right there for you. So it sort of creeps me out. Like, you don't get jump scares in books.
Right.
You get jump scares in movies and TV. And this show does have some jump scares, although watching it with closed captioning does help. Because it sort of warns you that a jump scare is about to come. I love it.
That's true.
So, while Wardwell is dying, Sabrina's getting loved on by Harvey. And he's giving her a necklace and telling her he loves her. And she's like, oh, fuck. I don't want to have a dark baptism. I'm going to dance instead.
She dances to Be My Baby. Another example of this show not really having a very clear time as to when it might be set in. So, like, there's cell phones, but then the music is mostly old, but of different eras. The cars all seem to be from the 70s.
The decor is, I don't know what. And I will say this many times. They're high school. What the fuck is... Now, you and I are both from fairly old towns in New England.
Yeah, I think so.
Did your high school have, like, Tiffany lamps everywhere to light the classrooms?
No, we would have destroyed them.
Yes, absolutely, you would have destroyed them. How dimly lit would you say your high school was on a scale of pitch black to bright as the fucking sun?
Well, I would say like probably on that scale, I would go with, sometimes flickering. What are those lights?
Fluorescent.
Fluorescent, yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there was a steady hum of fluorescent bulbs like in our schools.
sometimes something would break and ballast would start dripping out onto people's desks. That was always great.
But not at this high school. No, this high school has lockers, but opulent offices for faculty. But they have like dark wood desks and these like opulent bookshelves full of mysterious doodads, and like everything in my high school was made out of like particle board and a wish.
Yes. Where's the acoustic tiling? I asked myself.
And where are the stains? I demand stains.
This is a public high school too, we think.
We're sure, because at one point, I think it was Ambrose, Sabrina's cousin, said, "Oh, what have you told them, that you're going to some posh boarding school in Connecticut?" So if this were a posh private school in, I don't know where the fuck they are, Massachusetts, I'm guessing.
Sure. Apples.
Upstate New York? I don't fucking know. Eat a dick. How
do you like them apples?
Yeah, so we were talking about Ambrose and how he said something like, "Oh, what have you told them? Are you going to some private school up in blah blah blah?" So I'm like, so that leads me to believe that this is indeed a public school. And then later, Zelda and Hilda were talking, and they're like, "Oh, we should have homeschooled her, as is our custom, but instead we let her go to just school." So I'm like, I'm guessing they wouldn't have like paid for her to go to private school when there's a perfectly serviceable craps. I mean, because they don't believe in schools anyway. Why would they send her to some private school?
And I mean, the school, I don't know. It seems, decor aside, I don't know how good that school is.
No, it's pretty fucking terrible. They've got a shit heel of a principal who's cool with young women getting assaulted.
And who is that principal played by?
Balky?
We can't bump the baby babka ditty. It's part and parcel of the point-by-point process of baking baby babkas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Principal Balky.
Well, Miss Spillman, if you could give me their names, then I will have them in for review.
Don't be ridiculous. So, the principal is terrible.
And instead of like, saying, "Oh, I'll protect the young woman who got sexually assaulted in my school," he's like, "Oh yeah, she should totally just find a new school. Have you seen the size of this town? It's not like there's another fucking school around, you ass butt."
Oh, I don't know. Riverdale has 2 schools.
That's true. One for the serpents and one for everyone else.
Yeah.
So Wardwell is dead, and she turns into Madam Satan.
I feel like I've seen that actor in something.
Oh, I'm sure you have. Let's find out where.
Oh, Michelle Gomez. Oh, she's the master in Doctor Who.
Oh, fucking duh!
Spoilers for Doctor Who, I suppose. So she takes over that job because she says, after she kills the real Ms. Wardwell and takes over her form, she says,
The great work begins, Dark Lord. I shall deliver Sabrina unto you.
And I'm just like, well, why does she even need to be involved? Because nobody but Sabrina at this point knows that Sabrina is questioning whether or not she wants to do the baptism. So I'm like, why is she being so fucking weird about it? Like, what's the deal? Because Sabrina is about to deliver herself unto the Dark Lord.
or is she?
Well, that's, of course, the whole premise of the fucking show. But, I mean, if she goes through with the dark baptism, basically the show is over. Because the whole point of Sabrina the Teenage Witch is that she's half mortal, half witch. So, I'm assuming she never gets baptized. Even though the next episode is called The Dark Baptism. I'm guessing Homegirl backs the fuck out. Anyway, it's broken up into 3 days. The 27th, the 28th, and 29th. The days leading up to said baptism.
So can I completely break your train of thought again?
Absolutely.
How do you feel about the aunts?
Which one?
Both of them. Either of them.
Yes.
Okay.
The answer to both of them is yes. I mean, Hilda is the garden witch and Zelda is the smoking witch.
Yes, Zelda has the cigarette holder.
Okay. So Hilda is amazing and maybe a little too timid for my taste at this point because she's totally she's a witch. She's gone through the dark baptism. She fully believes in this. You know, she's like, yes, your parents want you to be baptized. Like, this is the thing. Like, they've said it many times. Like, she is not wavering in her commitment to this. But she's also just like, crack an egg, dear.
Oh, I was right. That is a blood curse. Oh, it's lingering. So, untreated, that is going to eat slowly away at your healthy will and your sanity. So, a regimen of saltwater baths, reversing candles for a couple of weeks, and that'll do the trick, I think. All right, off you go.
And I was like, she's so fucking bitchin'. I love her. And then Zelda is just, she's terrifyingly cool. Like, I really wish she wasn't smoking, but she does make it look cool. Like, peer pressure, people. If you're going to smoke, get yourself a cigarette holder because you're going to look dark and evil. And I love it.
Use the cigarette holder, talk about eating people.
Shame they decided against a closed casket. We haven't had long pig for dinner in ages.
Obs.
It's pretty boss.
It's pretty boss. So yeah, I like both the aunts. I like them so much more than the TV version. I mean, the TV version was pretty dumb anyway, but I watched the hell out of it. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
My notes now say batandwindow.com.
Oh. Should I register that domain?
I think you should. And the best part about that is that we're supposed to be startled, but when you watch the show with closed captionings on, it says screeches in parentheses before you actually see it come screeching out at the window. So you're like, oh, I guess the thing is about to happen.
But that did that lead to anything?
Well, it led to her going out into the garden to bury it.
Oh, that's right.
And then go into the woods to go try to find a familiar. And then while she was in the woods trying to find a familiar, let's see what I wrote. Bad bitch witches in woods. Curses! Exclamation point.
Yeah, the Weird Sisters is what they call themselves, apparently.
Yeah, well, they're just assholes. They're 3 bully witches from the academy who think that Sabrina's not good enough because she's half mortal, half witch, when everyone else knows how special she is. She is the daughter of a high priest and a mortal woman. But mostly the high priest is what they care about. And then they also infer that maybe her parents' death was not so much an accident as it was very, very much not an accident.
Do you remember what Sabrina calls them?
I don't remember what Sabrina calls them. I didn't write it down.
She calls them succubitches.
Oh, I like that. Succubitches. If that has not already been registered as a domain, it's porn. It's just, it's porn. Yeah. So then
she takes a shower, right, in the locker room to try to wash the curse off.
Yes.
And that's when she comes across Susie.
Yes. Her friend Susie was attacked, and she went to Susie's rescue by going to the principal and saying, you know, these fucking 4 douchebags just attacked my friend. And he's like, aw, so sad, too bad. Then Wardwell is like, let's teach that fucker a lesson. What do you want to do?
He's scared of spiders, you know.
Principal Hawthorne is?
Absolutely terrified of them.
So there's a hint.
You know, I really hope that he's super afraid of really obviously CGI spiders, because that's what we're gonna get.
There might be a real one or two in a box, because I mean the ones that they put the photo into. Those are probably a real one.
Yeah, could be.
That's been like copy and pasted.
Sure. Using the clone tool in Photoshop, sure.
Yes. But yeah, everything that Balky deals with is not real. And so the aunts, they run a mortuary.
Spellman Sisters Mortuary.
So Sabrina lives in the mortuary with her aunts, and there's the morgue. The morgue, that's the word. There's a morgue in the basement. But what I was looking at, I was like, okay, so this is a mortuary. Does that also mean funeral home?
I don't know. This is something I don't know a lot about.
I don't know either, because I was looking at their home and I was like, oh, I guess this could be a funeral home, except there's no parking. So when somebody does have a funeral, they would park in your dirt lawn?
Carpool?
Like, okay, everyone, you got to go to grandma's funeral, but you need to carpool. We're going to Spellman's. Anyway, completely aside, I was sort of, maybe I just didn't know the difference between mortuary and funeral home. I guess I thought they were the same thing, but it seems like maybe they're not. But then the family of this young murdered boy comes in to be counseled by the sisters and talk about how they want the boy's body to look, which makes me think funeral home? Question mark, question mark. Let's see. What else did I write? Son was stabbed to death. Oh shit. Harvey. Sweet but dumb.
Yeah. I feel like, are we supposed to think that Harvey is kind of a dud?
I mean, I don't know. He's kind to her, and he's
like, would you give up eternal life or whatever witches get and magical powers?
With that dude? Hell no. Hell no. I mean, he's TV cute, but he's not all of the above. He's not smart and kind and funny. He's just a cute guy who likes a girl.
Yeah.
And the second she says, oh, by the way, I'm a witch and I'm leaving.
There are so many delicious things about being a witch. But the one really bad thing is saying goodbye to you, to Roz and Susie.
Are you saying all this because you don't want to be with me? Because I said I love you?
So she has to erase his brain.
Hear my words and forget I said anything. Bless your mind, bless your heart. Love these people. That's tomorrow.
Wait.
Yeah, it's a real Superman 2 situation.
Yeah. So that was cute. I mean, of course anyone would flip out in that situation. Like if my boyfriend told me tomorrow, like, by the way, I'm a warlock and I'm leaving, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I'm sort of thinking about it in a different direction, which is like if in high school I had the ability to make people forget something that I did.
Oh my God. Why are you so much more devious than I am? I think I'm devious. And you're like, so I'm going to do some shit and I'm going to make everyone forget it all the time.
It's just now occurring to me that that's sort of what I do when I edit this podcast.
Yeah, but we both know what's really happened. You can't erase my memory.
I can't.
This is what I wrote. And so you're just gonna listen to my terrible notes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Into the woods! ! You're gonna see some shit, dum-dum. I was born here and reborn here. What's that mean? ? I'm leaving my girlhood behind. I'm a witch and you're a dummy.
One of my favorite parts of that scene is when she says,
The ceremony's called a dark baptism, but it's not as bad as it sounds. It's kind of like when we went to Shoshana Feldman's bat mitzvah or Guadalupe Lopez's quinceañera.
I suspect it is 100% as bad as it sounds.
Right. I did not find her comparison of it to like a quinceañera totally convincing.
And then she says, forget it. Literally. She goes home. Hey, Ambrose, let's do a spell.
Let's.
What time? And she's all coy. Midnight-ish. He says, ooh, the witching hour. I was like, okay, y'all. That was a cute scene, but also he's at least 90 years old.
Yeah.
And you're 16. And he's your cousin. So, stop being flirtsy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's been stuck there for 75 years, so I don't know.
75 years, 95% sure he's gay, 100% sure that a gay 90-year-old man would not dress in like 2019 t-shirts and jeans. Like, I have a feeling his sense of style might be cool, but maybe a little different. So I'm like, where is he getting his fashion advice from? Is it just like fashion bloggers? Is it, French Vogue? What is it?
He's got a laptop, so maybe he is watching some YouTubers.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Julia and today I'm gonna do some thrift flipping.
Like, come on, a 90-year-old watching YouTubers?
He should be dressed like, the 1920s version of a Visco girl.
Yes! 100%! So yeah, that's what I wrote. 75 years old and you dress like a teenager. Oh, Ambrose, let's do a spooky spider spell.
But first, Aunt Hilda figures out that the Weird Sister has put a blood curse on Sabrina.
Yes, because she had her crack an egg.
And it's got blood in it.
Sure does.
Sabrina takes a salt bath and has a vision.
Nice bathtub.
She gets out of the tub. It's like in The Shining.
The Shinning.
The Shinning, yes.
You mean Shining.
Shh, you want to get sued?
Actually, I don't think this scene was in The Shinning.
We have to go to the source material.
We see some side boob.
We do see some side boob. I'm very stoked about the side boob. I was like, yeah, again. Get it, Kiernan. And then she sees her parents. She's like, hey, parents, are you going to come to my baptism? And they're like, no, we're dead. We can't hear you. What the fuck?
But look, there's two babies.
Well, there are two babies, but only one of them has human legs.
The other has goat legs.
Which is, a thing. I mean, lots of people have goat legs. Pan. Other pan. Other pan.
I mean, people have bare legs sometimes. Moving on. They
do a spooky spider spell. And then she goes back to her bedroom. And the bedroom window is open. Uh-oh.
So I have a question for you at this point.
Yes.
Does this TV show have any Taggle in it?
I wouldn't say this is a Taggle show. But I am saying that there might be a character in this show that is a distant cousin, an Ambrose, as you will,
sure,
to Taggle.
I agree. Like, I was dedicated enough to this Taggle concept that I actually wrote down this character's name as Taggle in all of my notes. But it occurs to me as I was proposing this that this character does not speak, which is...
The character speaks before it turns into a cat.
Sabrina.
Because it does say to Sabrina, hey, bitch, I heard you calling me in the woods. And she's like, oh, cool, we're bros.
Aww.
And she gets the name from the cat. And the name is Salem. So now she's got her familiar. So she didn't have to pick the familiar out of the book like her aunts wanted her to. She's got a familiar. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Zelda isn't super psyched about that familiar situation.
She is not. She's pissed about this whole stray cat, feral familiar bullshit. She is not happy that she went out and just like got a familiar from the woods. But this familiar is baller and does save her. So you know what? Eat it.
Zelda also is like Sabrina is starting to think like, hey, maybe I shouldn't go through with this whole dark baptism thing. Because, like there's Harvey, there's my friends. And so what is the question that she is asked at this point?
He hasn't defiled you, has he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because it is very important to be a virgin on your dark baptism.
I thought it was pretty fun. Like Sabrina denies having been defiled.
Not that it's anyone's business, but no.
Both of her aunts say.
Gonna take a picture of my notes. If you can read my handwriting, which you might not be able to because my handwriting is weird.
Did you text it to me?
I just texted it to you.
Ah, there it is. Hey, Salem. Fuck no. Praise Satan.
You cannot postpone. Fuck no. Praise Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously I thought that was a delightful little thing too. That's the thing. I was sort of like frustrated with her aunts because, Okay, it is not uncommon for anybody to be like, I'm questioning things. I'm of the age where I am supposed to be questioning things. And they're just like, why would you dare question? This is super cool. And they act like it's a real big imposition for her to be like, hey, I love this and I love this part of myself. I'm just, want to be 100% sure. And they're kind of assholes about that. I didn't love it. But her cousin says, go eat from the evil apple.
Oh, let me read my note here. Ambrose suggests finding the malum malus, and she asks, what's that mean? And he says,
depends who's translating. If it's a man, it's the apple of evil. If it's a woman, it's the fruit of knowledge.
But technically it is evil apple. Like, that's just the word. Latin.
Yeah.
Done. Anyway, so she can't hang out with Wardwell after school. She's got to go to the Tree of Knowledge.
Right. Oh, Ambrose also tells her, make sure there's no worms in it. Although it seems like that's a joke, but...
Turns out not. And then my next note is, it's cadaver time, bitches.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, snap. He is a warlock. So we have the young man who got murdered. Turns out he was a warlock and maybe was murdered for being a witch.
Yes.
Maybe there's witch hunters. We don't know. Anyway, what does one of the aunts say?
We haven't had long pig for dinner in ages.
It's too bad that they want a open casket.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably take a butt cheek or two.
That's true.
Are the parents really going to look that close?
Maybe he has a real good butt. I don't know. We didn't get a chance to see it. Does it seem like people in the town should be talking more about the fact that some random kid was stabbed to death?
You would think, but nobody is talking about it. I mean, he probably went to their high school. He was young. I mean, even if he had graduated a couple of years earlier and, maybe he was 20 or something, like, everyone would have known of him.
Maybe it's like Cabot Cove from Murder, She Wrote, where, like, just people go missing or are killed so often that people don't really even care that much anymore. We lost another one.
Oh, well. Then let's see. What did I write next? Basic bitches be going to the orchard witch style.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
It means they're going to the apple orchard, and he's like, oh, we're going to the apple orchard. It's fall. This is fun. This is a thing we do. I'm going to get some pumpkins. And she's like, okay, babe, I'm going to go over here where there's a sign that says old tree.
That's pretty great. That's a very helpful sign.
And she goes into the hay maze, and nothing bad will happen in the hay maze, especially not when she sees a giant life-size scarecrow.
It's not like there's going to be a jump scare coming up or anything.
Not at all. But is there?
There is.
Oh, yeah. Because Wardwell is up to no fucking good. She's got a marionette, and she's making the scarecrow run around after Sabrina. And Sabrina's just trying to get through the fucking maze. And the easiest way through the hay maze is the way that the scarecrow's doing it. And that's just knock down some walls. But that's besides the point.
No one else is in the maze, which...
Yeah, just a couple days before Halloween. No one in a maze? Cool.
Yeah.
Sure. But Salem saves the day. Salem's the best. She finds the malum malus. I'm going to keep trying to say malum magus. I don't know. Malum malus.
There's one red apple on the tree.
So that's got to be the one.
Taggle doesn't like it, though. Not Taggle. Salem.
So she eats of the apple, and there's blood. And now she's got more things to see. What does she see?
Well, her hands are covered in blood. There are 13 witches being hung from that self-same apple tree.
Mm-hmm.
The tree breaks open, and my notes say, a big fucking demon thing breaks out and growls and starts towards Sabrina.
I wrote Satan himself.
Yeah.
Might be, might not be. Dunno.
No, I think you're right. She spits out the apple and the vision fades. Harvey is there. Oh, and Salem likes him. That's a note I made.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was really weird. Now, I love my friends. I love them. They're amazing people.
Uh-huh.
But if any of us were ever at an apple orchard and one of y'all said, oh, hey, I found this stray cat. I'm going to bring it home. I would not be like, yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Put him in my car.
Never really thought of you as a cat person, but okay.
And he's just letting the cat get in the car. And maybe the cat's in the back because it is a truck. So maybe the cat's in the back of the truck, but that would also be really stupid because cats are not great passengers. But I just thought it was fucking weird that he was just like, yeah, cool. I'm super stoked about this whole idea of driving a cat home. Instead of being like, that thing is stray and gross and smelly and I don't want it in my car. And just another reason why he is dumb.
Oh, well, yeah, he really is up for whatever Sabrina wants to do.
Yeah, he's committed to being a dum-dum.
I have a picture of my mother's cat riding on her boyfriend's shoulder as they're driving to Georgia someplace, but I can't find it right now. Which that cat...
That cat is special.
It is special.
In many ways.
Yes.
Full stop, end of story. I will not say anything bad about cats.
No.
That cat scares me.
It's a scary cat sometimes.
Yeah.
But also apparently a good traveler.
She goes home. The cat won't go inside. She does. And there's someone waiting for her. And again, her aunts, I like her aunts. And I especially like her Aunt Hilda.
Yeah.
But again, they're kind of douches here. So she doesn't know this guy. This is Faustus Blackwood. He's now the high priest of the what is it, Church of Night?
Yep.
Is that what it is? Okay, high priest of the Church of Night. The same place where her dad was the high priest. So Faustus Blackwood, high priest. She's never met this motherfucker. She's, actually just being fairly polite and just saying, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. And they're like, oh, how dare you question him? And I'm like, she's not questioning him, assholes. She's literally just saying like, hey, I wanted to talk to somebody about this. Why don't you introduce him to me? But they didn't. And they were rude to her for not knowing who this person was. And I was a little mad about that. And I know like, okay, drama, but why does nobody ever talk ever? Nobody ever talks in these things.
Well, maybe they did talk, but then they just made them forget.
Bless your mind, bless your heart. Love these people. That's tomorrow.
Wait, maybe. Oh, see, now that's good.
Oh.
Maybe everyone is actually talking about their feelings and their thoughts all the time, but the witches are erasing their memories. So everyone's just walking around like a Harvey all the time.
Maybe that's why he's kind of dumb, is because Sabrina keeps doing that to him.
Now, see, I like this.
Yeah, so he's there. Like she had earlier said that she would have she wanted to talk to someone about the decision so that she could make, an informed decision about whether to go through with this dark baptism. And so Hilda suggested, hey, why don't we actually try to get the closest person to Satan that we can get our hands on, who is this guy. So she goes into the room and she says, actually, I think she calls to them when she enters the house. And she's like, I've come to a decision about my baptism. We don't know what that decision is. Although
we suspect it's going to be, I'm not doing this because this looks scary. I mean, because it wasn't like when the demon came out of the tree, he was welcoming. He was menacing. He was coming at her and he was being very menacing. And that's not typically what one would do to a follower.
And she's had a number of visions and experiences related to this baptism, and none of them has been pleasant.
No.
They've all kind of sucked. Side boob aside.
Way to go, side boob.
Yeah, so he says, let's see what I can do to convince you. And that's the end of the episode. Oh, and we see that his nails are super pointy.
Super fucking pointy. I'm just like, okay. So I'm guessing we're going to find out that her dad knew some shit and was maybe trying to leave the church, and that's why he was going to talk to the Vatican.
Yeah, when their plane went down or something.
So I'm guessing while maybe they had wanted her to be baptized at one point, I'm guessing that she's going to find something out about the Church of Night and maybe not being so awesome.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot more that we'll find out in the coming episodes. So I felt like this episode was it was trying to establish a bunch of things. And so I don't necessarily have a great sense of who most of the characters are at this point.
Yeah.
But it was I enjoyed watching it. I didn't think it was too scary, although there's a footnote to that. As I think Carrie talked about earlier, like both of us are kind of scary movie wimps.
Oh, I'm a total scary movie wimp.
So we weren't sure that we would be able to watch this, but it seems good.
You are actually able to watch more scary movies than I am.
You've seen Carrie.
That's not scary. That's just my personal history.
Okay.
I don't like jump scares. That's really what it boils down. I don't like being in suspense, and I don't like jump scares. If I can be assured that there are no jump scares, or it's not like a terribly suspenseful movie, I can watch just about anything.
So my little footnote was that we watched it in San Diego when I visited you, and we watched the episode, and I was like, yeah, that wasn't bad at all. And you were like, yeah, it really wasn't, was it? And I'm like, yeah, totally not. And then I walked back to my Airbnb, my extremely San Diego Airbnb, at like 11 p.m. and it's dark out and there are shadows. And I'm like, and so then I was like, oh man, it's a little creepy out.
I'm going to go to my tiny little hobbit hole.
I'm going to close the door and lock it and try not to think about things, which I didn't. It was like a witch cast a spell on me. So let's see. I don't know what we would rate.
I don't think we have to rate anything yet. I think, if we were going to rate anything, I don't know what to rate yet because I don't hate anybody yet to start like dogging on them. I have some suspicions of who I'm going to hate. I'm guessing Madam Satan is a bad guy, but maybe an interesting one that we'll like half root for.
Yeah.
So I guess like right now, all the bad guys are the 4 football players. Fuck those guys.
They're all going to get covered with spiders.
We don't know which ones did it yet.
We don't.
But we'll find out. And I bet there's going to be some revenge. Not just on the principal, because the principal's had some revenge. And now we've started a feminist club called Wicca.
Oh, yeah, which Sabrina didn't pick the name of. Do you remember what it stands for? I have it written down someplace.
Women in Charge something.
Let's see. Women's Intersectional Cultural and Creative Association.
I was so far off, but I got the first word right. Way to go, Carrie.
Close enough. Wicca. Yeah, so we'll keep watching this. I think, yeah.
It's good.
It's after midnight. I'm tired. I can't really talk about anything.
Go to bed, my friend.
It's all good. Well, we have to record the introduction still. But
oh, that's true. What's our introduction going to be?
So, well, let's finish the outroduction.
Yeah, we're not good at this.
So I think probably what we're going to do here is, as mentioned elsewhere, we recorded a bunch of episodes about the first season of Riverdale for the Patreon. But I think we'll just start putting those out in between other episodes. So in a couple of weeks, I'll put out the first Riverdale episode. But then after that, I think we'll just go and do the second episode of Sabrina.
I'm really looking forward to watching the second episode of Sabrina. Now that I've seen the first episode twice. I think it's going to be a good show. I mean, it was renewed for a couple of seasons so far, so people seem to enjoy it. I really like the visuals. I think it's a visually interesting show. I love the color saturation in the show. I think it's it's like very crisp, very dark reds, very dark. Like everything is really like they packed color into it, which I really enjoy. It's very comic booky, I guess.
Yeah, and I it seems like it's pretty well cast.
Yeah, I mean they cast a great side boob. I don't care about the rest of the show.
This is it, Carrie. This is the show that gets us canceled.
We don't get to we self-cancel. Like, who's going to stop us?
Right. You all will forget we even said anything. Yeah. So great to talk to you about this TV show.
It's really good to talk to you too. It's good to hear another human's voice.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is the first episode we've recorded since basically going outside was strongly discouraged.
Oh yeah, we're not allowed to go outside really. I mean, I can go out in the backyard and like you can go to the grocery store or like the hospital.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So it's good to talk to you.
So like when we're all dead and people are listening to our voices, like Jake, I just want you to know Love you like crazy.
I love you like crazy too. An appropriately macabre ending to this episode.
Give me a call when you get back. Hey there.
Hey.
LoveILikeCrazy.com.
So for the
We're
intro,
watching an episode that they talk about eating humans.
yes,
Dark baptisms.
check.
Defiling virgins. Like, come on. Like, I can be a little macabre.
Certainly. No, I'm just an idiot. That's what the moral of that was. I'm just
It's okay, Harvey.
yeah.
It's fine.